What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Easy HVAC. Hope you guys are having a good day. In today's video, we've got complaints from the customer of too much humidity in their pool equipment room. Apparently they have a lot of moisture buildup on their electrical panels, so that's not good. So we got to figure out, well, actually this exhaust fan here serves that pool equipment room, and it's there to help with that issue, to help control the humidity in that space. So we've got our belt here. The belt looks pretty good. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. It's nice and tight. It's not loose. The motor looks pretty good. It looks like a new motor actually. But I don't know if you can see that down here. The wires are not completely inside the motor. See, they're kind of hanging out right here. So whenever if you guys ever see this, it's definitely best to correct it, because what can happen is these wires can easily rub out on the metal or on the motor, and then obviously that can cause, shorts, electrical shorts. Yeah, so if you ever run into that, definitely want to correct it. But it doesn't seem like we have any rips or tears or anything like that, just from what I can see. But I'll be putting that back in, or fixing that. But again, the belt looks good. The motor spins freely. Everything spins freely. I'm not hearing any grinding of the bearings or anything. So when I came up here, this motor, or this exhaust fan, was not running, it was off. So we got to figure out, did somebody shut the motor off because the belt broke, or did we trip a breaker? I don't know. So let's try turning it on, see what happens. Okay, so nothing happened. Flip the switch, and we don't have anything running. Okay. So our next step is to open this up and see if we have power going to the motor. All right. Let's get our screwdriver. Our 10-in-1. I'm gonna have to switch here. Much better. Got the cover off. There's our switch. So we're gonna have to take this out. and test it with our meter, test for voltage. Actually all taped up. Okay, so I'm gonna have to take that piece of tape off to check to see if we have incoming power. So guys, let me set the, I'm gonna put the phone down, see if I can give you guys a good angle here. There we go. So I'm just gonna take this piece of tape off. All right. This is our switch. So we've got incoming power. The purple wire is our incoming power. It looks like from the breaker, and then this black wire here goes to our motor. Okay. So we're gonna take our meter. And we're gonna check from the purple wire here to ground and see if we have 120 volts. I believe this is the 120 volt circuit for this motor. Alright, let's see what we got, guys. So from here to ground. If you guys can see that, but we're only getting 8 volts. See if I can get a better angle and show you guys. Okay, so we're only getting about 8 volts. 8 volts. 0 volts there. Okay, so we only have 8 volts coming in. So the next step would be to check the breaker, see if our breaker is tripped. And if it is tripped, the next thing would be to come up here and then test the motor to ground. Because if the breaker did trip, then it could have tripped possibly because of a grounded motor. Hopefully not, because this motor actually looks pretty new. So hopefully we don't have to, I'm hoping we don't have to change it. But we're gonna go downstairs and we're gonna take a look at the breaker that serves this exhaust fan. Alright, so let's head downstairs and look at that breaker. Alright, so let's find the electrical panel. See if we can find, oh, here we go. See that? Exhaust fan 2. 46. So let's find 46 here. Okay, this is the breaker that serves that exhaust fan number 2. And as you can see, the breaker is off. Right, so someone turned the breaker off. Now the question is, did somebody turn the breaker off because there was no belt on the motor, or do we have an electrical issue, grounded motor, or anything like that? So I believe I have the switch off upstairs. Whenever you have to run into a situation like this, before you turn the breaker on, it's always best to turn up on the unit upstairs on the roof to either turn the switch off or the disconnect off. Because if you leave the switch or the disconnect on, and you go down here to turn the breaker on, if there is a short, it will trip automatically, and you want to be able to troubleshoot and see what you can find before you turn the breaker on, right? So, but I do believe I turned the switch off. So we're gonna turn this breaker on. Okay, no trips or anything like that. It didn't trip instantly, so that's good. So let's make our way back upstairs and check for voltage again, and see if we can get our motor to turn on. Close that. All right, back up we go. All right, let me see if you guys get a good angle here. I'm gonna put you back where I had you before so you can see. Okay. So let's try this again. We're gonna check for proper voltage. Set your meter to volts AC, alternating current. Let's see what we got. And voila. We have 120 volts. Awesome. So let's turn our switch on. We're gonna turn our switch on and see if we can get our motor to run. And we have nothing. Our motor is not running, okay? So at this point, we're gonna check to see if we have voltage on the motor side. Okay, so we have 120 volts on incoming power from the breaker. When we go over to the switch, we're only getting 1.9 volts. I'm sorry, when we go over to the motor side, we're only getting 1.9 volts. Let me make sure the switch is on, in the on position. Okay, there we go. Now we're getting 120 volts. We are getting 120 volts to our motor. If we check across, we've got 0 volts across our switch. So our switch seems to be good. It's working like it should. So, I'll show you guys, this is the motor side, 120 volts, line side, 120 volts across the switch. Sorry, my computer is low on battery. Across the switch, we've got 0 volts. Okay, so our switch seems to be working. Now it possibly seems like we have an issue with our motor. Possibly a bad motor. So, at this point, what we're going to do is see if we have any shorts to ground. So we're going to turn the power off for the motor. We're going to set our meter to ohms. Okay, well actually, before we do that, let's just confirm to make sure we don't have 120 volts on the motor side. Whenever you're checking ohms or resistance, you always want to make sure the power is off before you check for resistance. So let's make sure that we don't have any power on the motor side. Okay, we don't, no power. Alright, let's turn our meter back to ohms resistance. Let's check it to ground. Okay, nothing there. Alright, so I do not believe our motor is grounded. At this point, okay, so at this point we can make the assumption that the motor is bad. But to go even further, we'd have to basically open the motor up and test the windings themselves directly. So test winding to winding to see if we're open. That would be the next step. And now I also don't know if this motor has an internal overload that could possibly be open, preventing the motor from running. But it's definitely going to be on the motor side. So the important thing was to make sure that we had the proper voltage, because obviously if we don't have the proper voltage, then the motor isn't going to run. But we do, as you saw, we have 120 volts coming in. Our switch does work. We have 120 volts line side, 120 volts for load side going to our motor. So, yep, that's the next step. We're gonna open the motor up, test the windings, and go from there. Yeah, guys, that's gonna be our next step. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to get that on video. I am recording with my phone, so it's kind of hard for me to work with one hand. I'm sorry about that. Eventually I will get a camera, and I'll be able to show you guys hands-on, motor replacements, compressor replacements, things like that. But yep, that's the next step. But thank you guys for watching up to this point. Really appreciate it. And if you like the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all future videos. Thanks again, guys, for joining. Hope you have a wonderful day. See you on the next one.